How's it going out there in the interwebs world? I've got some red gum, bloody red gum. Sorry. I've got some bottle brush. It's got a red hue to it, so it's partly right. I've got this bit here. I think I'm going to opt out for this bit because it's got no branches. No branches sticking out, obviously, other than the... Which should have some nice figure in them. And it's like... Yeah, the red dust will be nice too, because I'm not too sure what the camphor's like in the US, Rex, but it's got a nice red, couple of red streaks going through the browns and whites and stuff. I like the smell in the shop that it leaves for 3 or 4 days or something afterwards. It's very nice. Smells better than some of the danky woods of. How you going, John? How you going, Effie? How are yous? How are you feeling today, Effie? All right? All right, I'll look at them in a sec, Rex. Oh, that's good, Effie. I reckon you always recover better at home. At least your loved ones can come and see you whenever they want. Hey? Have the grandkids come over. How you going, Sid? So I had someone come around and help me with my shed today. We got the panel on. The shed's now complete. It's now waterproof inside. What else? I'm pretty happy. Rex, they won't see that in the private chat. They have to be in StreamYard to see the private chat. Yeah, there is, Rex. There's a yeah, you have to go to YouTube, Rex. I'll get you a link if you want. Yeah, I've got a small airport about 1.5 km, I suppose, maybe less even. And they've got they train pilots there for the bigger passenger planes, and they've got a helicopter training facility there as well. So yeah, and then every now and then we get buzzed by the police chopper and the chopper they use to go rescue people in bad accidents. It's called Rescue One, and they house that at this airport and then swap it with this in Adelaide Airport. I don't know why, but So as it turns out, the person we got to come and give us a hand with the shed, we didn't know, but they were bringing someone else with them. And I'm glad they brought that fourth person, because we actually needed 4 people to put this last panel on. It's just because of how flexible the side gables are. It's just like 2 or 3 mil alloy, you know. It's got no structure to hold itself until everything's bolted together. Rex, I don't know. I could do a vase, but not for vase week though, all right? Because I don't bother entering those things. Don't be like that, mate. And it's wet. So if I can find the center, that'd be great. And here comes one of those choppers right now. The council around here, they don't peer over your fence, they just fly over with the chopper. Alright, so I just got to finish my coffee a bit. I was quite happy for the live to start late to get my shed finished, because it's been frustrating the hell out of me. Oh yeah, all right. And I am going to insulate it a little bit, Rex, the shed, but I'm just going to do it with like a 0.5 centimeter foam, and I've got some I've got that packing strip that you can buy. It's normally blue, but it's white. It was around all the shed stuff, boxes that I had for the shed. Kept all of that, and I'm going to go and buy a heap more. I'm going to strap that in, screw that in, and then slide the insulation panels in between, and then just put a couple of tacks through the packing strips into the insulation just to hold it there. So then it's just easily for me to remove. All right, Rex, I just got to go and I want to open up Messenger. You can hear a little bird chirping in the background. It's a minor bird. Distinctively known around here as a noisy minor bird. Right. What one do you want up first, Rex? The one that's got the red streaks in it? How you going, Chris? How's your camp going? Oh, dove, yeah. Pigeons, yeah. I call them flying rats because there's so many of them. Okay, all right. Well, I haven't done much poly, to be honest. Dr. Bob might be able to help you there. How you going, Bob?
Good. It's been a long day.
Oh, Rex has a question you might be able to answer in the chat. He said he's putting his first layer of poly on camphor. I'm going to put some pictures up right now.
Okay, I see the comment.
There's one. What's that, Rex? What's that picture, Rex?
What's the question?
I think it's to do with how many layers of poly, maybe. I'm not too sure. I'm not familiar with the layers of poly that are needed because I haven't used it.
Well, as many as you want. I know for some of the friends of mine that do soap work, they put it on and then they sand it back and with real fine either sandpaper.
That's sawdust, Dr. Bob, in the cracks that he's put in there.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice shape to that.
Yeah, it's got nice chatoyance too, huh?
Oh yeah.
What's going on here, Rex?
I don't know. I usually try to put one a day on, depending on where it's drying. If it's humid, like in the summer around here, I'll bring it in the house and let it dry, because it's got to be dry between layers. And some people take and buff it down, or.
All right. He wants to know if there's a way to minimize the cracks, Bob.
Not really. I mean, that's part of the drying process of the wood. And
like that one there, I think he's on about.
Yeah, you could use an ultra miniature. Well, when you buy super glue, you get the real fine little tips to them. But now you've gone far enough where to try to put it in, it wouldn't be on the wood surface itself. If it's still raw wood, I'd use some sand, some of the dust from sanding, and see if I can't pack in there. If you're really concerned about it, but that's part of the character of the wood. There's stress. To me, it's a stress fracture in the wood.
He said he sanded at 320.
That's
actually, you know what? That could be, Rex. Sometimes I notice that it actually comes down to the heat, the friction heat from sanding can create more cracks. I know it does that in gum a lot.
That's true.
Yeah. So it could just be Maybe lighter touch with the sander, and maybe just every now and then, have you got like a temperature gauge, a digital one or something? I don't know. Maybe have a. It might even be that it's like gum. It's got that slight bit of moisture in it, and the sanding evaporates it.
Well, it looks like a stress fracture too, because the wood itself, that happens, and often sanding can do it.
Yep.
If you're really pushing and get it warm. If it's warm to the touch, it's too warm.
Yep.
But the piece looks really nice.
His piece is nice. Mine's not.
Well,
I'm gonna use that white putty and color the putty and put it in the rings again. I made sure I'd finish the piece pretty much well off until I need to just sand off where it smudges around when I'm squashing it in there.
Yeah. I got a question on it, not to criticize, but a question.
Yeah.
I have made stuff like that before where I've had a hollowed out piece of wood where I've made a bowl out of it. But I wanted the bowl to be deeper than, I won't say deeper than the wood, but a nice bowl. And of course, when you have something rectangular like that, you can take and actually undercut cut the backside so as the bowl appears through the flat piece of wood. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, emerging bowl.
Right.
Yeah, I have. I've done a couple of those.
I thought so. I like the heaviness of that because that reminds me of an ashtray for cigars, because the cigars are big and bulky.
That whacking on the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rex, sanding sealer won't stop the cracks. Sanding sealer actually just makes the grain stand up so that you can sand it off. That's basically what the sanding sealer is doing. About the only thing, like what Bob said, really. CA and shavings is about the only thing I can think of.
Well, it'd be sanding dust.
Yeah. Like the really
That's
fine
why
stuff.
when I sand, I won't say it's a secret, but it's not even a trade secret, though my great grandfather used to do it. Is an old baking tray, something that the wife or whatever has burnt biscuits on or something like that.
Yep.
A metal baking tray. They're oblong.
Yep.
And they've got stuff stuck on them and you can't get it off. Yeah, take a sander and sand it down, but you can't use it for cooking anymore. But when I sand, that's under what I'm sanding, besides if I'm hand sanding, because that way I can brush the dust into it.
Yes.
And then I usually take a piece of white notebook paper, and if I want to collect the dust, and I'll put the notebook paper in the bottom of the pan. And people say, well, what keeps it from coming out? Well, you lick the corner of the paper or whatever and stick it to the pan. I mean, you don't glue it, a little bit of water on it, and it sticks so as it stays in place. But it's a way of being able to catch the sanding dust. And that's how I catch it. And then I use it as a roll of paper up, like into a funnel. And also, that way you can put it in the cracks.
Bob, there's another question there for you from Rex too. And also another source of dust, if you can't do that, Rex, is bandsaw. Go open up the box where it all drops down inside.
Yeah, that's a great. I'd forgotten about that, but I do that too.
Yeah, I've
I
got a
set
container
the- I'm in the
behind.
bandsaw.
Yep. Didn't you have no internet in hospital, Effie? Yeah. Yes, it is, Rex. There's going to be two different pieces. It's too much vibration if I try and do it as one piece.
Well, Rex, one thing I can give you a hint that I do, if you have tenon problems, just get yourself a piece of cardboard or a thin piece of wood and take the piece of wood like this and cut a notch out of it the size of the tenon and use that as your gauge to go over it to see where you're at. I have a set of tenon gauges because I have 5 chucks and, oh God, maybe 18 or 19 jaw sets, and only 2 of the chucks take the same jaws. So I keep the little pieces, and I've done it out of real thin plywood. And what I do is I hang them up with the chuck so as I can grab it. It's like right behind the chuck. And if you're worried about having tenon and recess, the same thing. Use the same cardboard or light plywood or whatever. Hobby wood is probably your best bet. And on one side of it, you have one dimension, and you turn it over, and you've got the other. And or you can go out and buy them. People make them, but a piece of cardboard is just as easy. White poster board. If you got a scroll saw, you can do it out of thin plywood. I've got mine out of plywood because years ago one of the kids here was learning to use a scroll saw. I marked it all out and I told him just cut it out along the line. One's a tenon and one's in there so as he can actually keep track of it. One on one side, one on the other, and a hole in them to hang them on a peg next to the chuck. Well, that's a good question. Optimal size for a tenon. That's one of those things that I think with a fudge factor you're going to have to learn. Like I do a lot of work. Well, not right now because the wood is too expensive. But I get a lot of cedar because in the winter I make kayak paddles for a friend of mine that builds kayaks. So I get a lot of Western red cedar out of Canada. So the problem there is with compressors, if you're going to turn something out of cedar, it'll compress, and if you have to make the tenon bigger because it's easily compressed, and a light catch can, even if it's chucked up right, you really got to put the pressure on, and after a couple minutes the cedar is to do the same thing unless it's film dried. And still then you can have problems because of the pores of the wood being so open. That's what makes it float, because it's got a lot of open space in the wood to hold air. So there's a fudge factor, and you're just going to have to practice on the pieces you're working with. You don't want them coming loose. Well, yes, I've done that. Don't forget, when chuck jaws are made, they're just made out of a round piece of metal, and it's all CNC cutting. And when they're done, that's when they go through a bandsaw to cut them in 4 pieces. And the alignment of the bandsaw isn't always perfect, because it depends on where you get it done at. But you can look at the jaws themselves and see the marks from the bandsaw. And if not the bandsaw, you'll see marks from a grinder that they use to take out some of the rough teeth marks that are left by the bandsaw when they cut it. So yes, when you tighten the chuck set up, it's usually not a circle. It's just off, just barely a perfect circle. Some of the more expensive chucks that are done today by laser cutting to cut them in half, now you're down to microns and you don't worry about it. But unless you're super rich, I don't know, precision chucks or CNC will use it. But that's woodworking people, we don't have that luxury. Because you have to remember, if you're chucking end grain, you're going to be compressing the end grain, and in that case, it's also another variant you got to look out to. Because here again, you're just compressing straws. If you think of the grain of a piece of wood being soda straws, because that's what it is taking liquid up the tree and out the branch and the limb. They're just capillaries. And when the wood is really dry, then they can be compressed too. Here again, depending on the type of wood you're using. I don't want to say hardwood doesn't do it, because you have to remember that balsa wood is also a hardwood, because it's deciduous. That's the only difference. But balsa wood is a hardwood. That's how it's classified. But that's one of those nice trick questions for beginners.
All right, thanks for coming in, Rex. Take it easy.
Have you or anybody heard how Robo's doing? Yeah. Sorry, Bob. I've dutched myself out. I've dutched myself out. I have to stand outside my shed. No, it's for some reason I don't know why, but bottle brush smoke sets my asthma off like instantly. Most smokes I can handle a little bit of before it does, but this stuff just sets it off straight away. Huh. Have you heard anything about Robo?
Sorry, I didn't mean to answer that. No, I haven't, but he was going fine yesterday. I did a second live yesterday, and well, it would have been the next day for you guys, but early. And he didn't come into that because he was just about to go off and have a bucket load of tests. So haven't heard from him since then. But sorry, I asked him this morning if he'd had much sleep, and he said he only got 2 hours sleep, so he might be sleeping.
Yeah. I'm worried about him because he smoked so long.
Yep.
It's a deadly habit.
Yeah, I know. I gave it up about 15 years ago, I suppose. How you going, Jojo? Nah, not too bad. I've been going for 45 minutes. I'm going to cut this in half here. This is going to be one vase, and this is going to be another one. Vase, however you want to call it. Whatever. Same thing.
A matched pair.
Oh, no, not really. The wood maybe, but I've done them two different shapes.
Right, but the bark is still going to be
The same.
on both and it matches.
Yes. Yes, most definitely it is.
And that bark, when you seal it and finish it, is gorgeous. That's what makes it. That's why I always have bark on mine.
Yep.
I won't say always because that's ridiculous, but when I can, I always include the bark because people will pick it up and look at it. And I have known a lot of, I was going to use the W word, weird, but special people.
Yep.
Who look at bark and read stuff into it, or look at it and they see something in it, like don't you see the little people here? And here's their bodies, and here's this, and here's
Oh
that.
yeah. Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
the people.
Yep.
A lot of they're creative people.
I know my people very well.
So I like to leave the bark on as much as I can because
Yeah.
everyone does a plain something, but those that have the gift of seeing something in it, I mean, that is fantastic. And they like, I don't, and I haven't sold my stuff. Some of it I have, but not all of it. Uh, because the urns, I give them away. I can't sell a resting spot for a fellow vet.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
And, but yeah, I've done it, and as I say, people will find stuff they see in it, and they're the ones that'll pick it up because it's just no insult, plain wood, no finials, no fancy footwork on it. You know, it's Mother Nature.
Yeah, that's what I said the other day when someone said that piece looks great. I said, Mother Nature made it. I just cut it so that you can see it better.
Amen. Yeah, I think so, Jojo. Because one thing I have found when I leave bark, I can even enhance the bark some by where you put what finish and where you sand and what you sand with. The cambium layer between the bark and the wood often is very, very pretty.
Yeah, it is.
Especially on round objects because you can see all the different layers, that have been cut open. But the warning there is that
What?
you sand it. Yeah, you have to sand that by hand to get all the lines, every layer out.
Yep.
That's easy to do. You sit and watch the boob tube or something online, and a little piece of 400 or 600 grit, just enough to cover a couple of your fingers, because all you want to do is that one layer, or it's actually multiple layers, of the part of the cambium layer wood layers. Then that really shows up nice.
Hey, Bob.
Though sometimes that's where I use sanding sealer with a artist's paintbrush.
Oh, yeah.
A very thin one, because
Yeah,
all I want to do is to seal the grain.
Yeah.
But you have to sand it first, and then you'll see the ridges or whatever you come up with, because that's soft and hard layers as the bark develops.
Yes. Hey, have a guess what I did today?
You won the lottery.
No, even better.
You got the roof on, finished your roof.
Yeah. Yeah, got
Wow.
I asked a relative to come around and give us a hand, and the only time they could come around was just before my live was about to start. So I thought, yep, sweet, I'm in, let's do it. And then I didn't know, but they brought someone else with them, and we actually needed that fourth person. So I basically did the shed by myself. Amber helped me put the first roofing panel on, and the last roofing panel needed 4 people.
To keep it square?
Yeah, because of the gable sides are only about 2 or 3 mil alloy, and they've got no structure to them and nothing to hold them up other than what they're bolted to, and it's really floppy.
Yep.
And you go to put the shed roof down onto it, and it would skip out the way, kind of thing.
Yep.
So it had that fourth person pushing up against the gable, so it wouldn't skip out, so I could get a screw in. So yeah, that helped heaps. That did. So it's all.
You got the doors. You got the doors on it too?
No, I haven't. I always leave that till last because I've got a load of stuff to go in there first, and I've got to cement the area where the door's going to open up to. So I tend to leave that till last. The door. I've only got one door in this shed. Yeah, this one's got two, and the one that I've just built's only got one.
Sliding doors, or do they swing?
No, just a swing one. I can't bend down to fix railing if it goes wrong down the track, so I'm better off just having hinges.
Yep. And then it's easy to put a cross member in if you want to stiffen the door.
Yeah, well, it comes with one. It comes with a heavy duty that's kind of angled, so you don't even touch the bit of metal that goes across the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then you got to get a decent lock and an alarm.
I've got security camera pointing at it, so that should be all right.
Yeah, but if the camera is only going to record, if you got it recording, who stole what. Yeah. And that's handy to have. Is the proof that such and such a person stole it.
Oh, look, if I had the opportunity, I'd electrify the shed. That'd give them something to think about.
Well, the liability.
Just enough to make their hand go.
Yeah. A simple, loud, annoying buzzer.
Yeah.
And then you keep the remote for it inside.
Yep. I don't know what happened to the fence jumpers around here, because we would get it regularly every year without fail for the last 10 years. COVID nipped them in the bud. I don't know what happened to them, but they were night dwellers, and yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea what happened and whether they died from COVID or whether their dealers died from COVID. I don't know, but they stopped coming. Yeah. They've stopped for the first time in 10 years. They haven't jumped the fence so far this year. And the prominent time that they would do it would be around middle of April here, because that's when a certain plant is ready to be cultivated, to say the least.
Oh, a little bit. You mean weeds in the yard?
Yeah. So I've got like everything but they seem to jump my fence every year thinking they're going to find it. So
you don't grow your own?
No, that's just insanity here. I've got too many 2-story houses that look over, can see in my backyard.
Oh, it's not legal?
No, it's decriminalised. But
yeah, that's what it is here. Where everybody's allowed so much to grow.
One. You have one, and you get a fine of about $150, and that's it.
Yeah, I remember when I was in Alaska for the pipeline in the 70s. The Alaskan law said that you were allowed 2 plants per person living in the household over the age of 10.
Yeah.
And that was the law by limit, your limit law, 2 plants per person over 10.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, we were allowed to have 9 plants, but then it got knocked down to 2 and then 1. Guess it depends who's in power, I suppose.
Well, who's making the money at the store? Who's regulating the stores and getting the tax from it?
Yeah. No, it's, okay. Hey, you didn't have to stop talking. I was muting it so I wasn't making a noise over you talking.
Oh, I just trying to carry on an interesting conversation. The question is, Jojo, where are you from? Oh, well. Looks like my little keyboard is dead. Let me charge it.
What happened? Did your phone die?
Well, I got an interesting gift today,
Oh yeah, what's that?
a belated birthday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's to us it's what we call OSHA. It's our the sets all the safety regulations for people.
Okay.
Well, safety, anything, OSHA for machinery, and so you don't get your hand caught in something, and
Yep.
occupational safety and health.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yep.
what it stands for. And earmuffs, headphones, so you can put them on, and a jet plane wouldn't bother you. You could walk up to an engine and not hear it.
I like that.
Uh, oh yeah, but it also has Bluetooth.
That's all right.
Really interesting. That type of Bluetooth headphone.
So you can
We're
you can
having
tell,
a
so you can
party in
tell
the back room of the house, and they were playing their music, and you could feel it through the walls. Teenagers. You remember
yes.
that a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I've been
couldn't
there.
hear a thing.
Sorry.
I sat and listened to music on my phone and fell asleep. Didn't bother me at all.
Yep. Can you use it to tell Alexa to do stuff?
No, but it depends on the device that you're connected to.
Okay.
It does support it, but I can address. It'll connect uh, through Bluetooth to her, so I can
Yep.
connect it, and then anything that I say or do, it's the same as talking into it. So I can play music. Uh, I can tell it to change stations and whatever, pause a
Yep.
movie that I'm watching, all the multimedia features that it has, uh, because I have the TV is, well, actually, I have I have the remote and the Fire Stick, of which I really like, since I cut the cable. I got more programs at less price to watch, but it'll talk to that because that's a device on the Bluetooth connectivity.
What
So,
was that? You had a controller. Is it a controller for the TV?
well, it's for the Fire Stick.
What's that?
Oh, Amazon. And it has the woman built in up top here. So I can
Okay.
hit the button and give it, I want to see this show. I could be
Okay.
watching, if I'm on YouTube, I can hit the button and tell it that I want to see all of your programs, and it'll find your site and bring them up for me.
Okay. Well, that's handy.
Oh yes, because it can sort everything that I want it to. You know,
Yeah.
I hit the Fire Stick, and I wanted to see the movie the other night, Tora Tora Tora, uh, the Japanese version of our Pearl Harbor,
Oh, yeah.
and because I had a bet going, and I thought I was right, and ended up, yeah. The fact that they actually had submarines in the harbor, but one of them got sunk, and it was brought up and given back to them.
Yeah.
But there was actually two of them, and the fact that we knew they were coming because we saw it on experimental radar, of which at that time was classified top secret. The Brits invented it, but we had it, and we could see the planes coming in. But the quirk in history, and I love history because it's human. The during the invasion of Pearl Harbor, the radar that they were working with, that they were experimenting with, uh, the people, it was supposed to be turned off at like 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning, except that the person who was the operator asked permission if they could leave it on longer because they were still practicing on it because they had only had their instruction through manuals, reading the manuals. And there were so many different things that you could use to adjust to get an image right and to make sure what you had it was real. And they wanted, you've got to give people time because there were no trainers built for them where you could buy a training kit.
Yeah.
At the time, they were all handmade and they were rare.
Fly by experience.
Yeah, you learn by experience. And the person operating it actually saw the planes coming in and reported. But nobody trusted radar because it was something that the D whatever Brits had invented, and we were still playing with it to see if it was for real.
Yep.
But yet the operator saw it, but he was told by his instructor it was noise. Don't worry about it. It wasn't tuned in yet the way it should be. It wasn't noise. It was the Japanese coming to Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
But part of history they want to keep quiet because it's embarrassing. But it is in textbooks and it's in reports and it does show up in the movie.
Yeah, I'm sure if people looked for it, researched it, they'd find it. It's all out there. It's just a matter of having the right wording sometimes, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So Jojo must have left Bob, but I think he's in Europe somewhere anyway. I don't want to go stepping on toes and saying the wrong country.
Yeah.
But He's in Europe. He does more carving and stuff like that. I'm going to come outside in the next couple of hours and go and look at the shed and go, it's real. It's actually finished.
Yeah. You got a floor poured?
I've got the cement that was put in when the house was originally built.
Okay, so
Cement.
a patio.
It's got a cement slab right down the end of the backyard where the clothesline used to be.
Oh, okay.
So I'm that's the main slab that I'm using, and then there's like a footpath or sidewalk there as well, and it's pretty much 3/4 of my shed is going to be covered in that cement, and then there's just a little bit of cement in the corner that I need to do. But
Have you got your power out there yet?
Sorry?
Your power?
No, but that's just an extension cord from this shed that'll just get stretched through. But I'm going to get some, I've got some lino. I'm going to cut that up into strips about 3 inches wide and however long the piece of lino is, and I'm going to glue that down around the edges of the shed to try and
keep the bugs out.
Keep the water out, because that's the angle that the water runs in my backyard is right where I'm putting the shed.
Ooh.
So I'm doing my darndest to redirect the water. So it's not too bad at the moment. It's got I've dug out a couple of little, I call them rivers, because they basically weave in between all of my herbs and chili plants and stuff like that, and then that's where the water runs. It runs off into those little rivers.
Right.
So
you get a lot of rain?
Well, it's more towards the halfway mark of winter and the end. It's not really the start of it. We don't get much rain. There's a lot of wind though. A lot of 100k winds just out of nowhere, and because there's also a lot of paddock around me as well, so the wind gets a chance to build up. But I'm kind of lucky in that sense, because it's my backyard's tiny, so I've got 2-story houses. I've got one there behind my house. I've got one next to me and me. So that's a bit of wind shelter there, a bit of windbreak.
Uh-huh. Because you don't want the wind to come in the door and lift it off the concrete.
Oh, no. No, that won't happen. It's actually got like this shape here. Oops, hang on, I'll see if I can get in the camera. This shape down here, where it has those little grooves in it there, that actually the very end of either end of the shed, they're open, so that it's got air to get in and out. And then it's got right where the gable joins up in the middle of the roof, it's actually got, I haven't put the capping on there yet, so the air can blow out through there.
Uh-huh.
So I think I'll be all right in that sense.
Yeah, you don't want to be like Dorothy from the original. I can see you it's just perfect. You and your lathe spinning as it going through the cloud, the hurricane, just like Dorothy did on a bicycle.
Yeah, no, we don't get hurricanes here. I am going to.
Well, if you could, it'd be a hurricane. For us, it's a tornado, because the only difference, oddly enough, is which way it turns.
Yep.
Everybody has other reasons that you can have rain and whatever, but the original definition is which way the wind turns.
Okay. They get Queensland gets those. Not here. It's the tropical weather climate. States that get them. We
Yeah.
got more of a Mediterranean climate, so we don't. We tend to see high winds, and that's about it.
So you sit out on your patio with a coconut and a little umbrella in it and enjoy your whiskey
Yeah.
as if you were on a beach in the mid.
Watch the lightning storm. We're only about like a 20-minute drive, maybe not even that, from the beach. So
And the beach is on the ocean.
yeah,
How are you going to seal that in? A little bit of CA
not sure
to
at the
keep
moment.
coloring. I like the coloring.
Just I've had the infamous knock on the window, you see. So I thought I'd quickly chuck a bit of that stuff in, so you could see what it's going to look like.
It's gorgeous.
So. And it behaves quite odd for wet wood. This stuff it takes the shine, it takes the polish, it takes everything like it's dry. It's quite weird. All right, Bob. Thank you very much for coming in. I do appreciate it.
Oh, I'm glad I could be here. Just wish people would keep an eye on Robo and how he's doing.
Yeah, no, he's in good care there.
Oh, I know that, but just when you lose a lung like that, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, well, he's got his computer, so and he likes to chat up the nurses, so I think he'll be right.
Well, take care. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Okay, have a good day tomorrow.
Yep.